Popcorn and Cheese was one of the funniest podcasts on South African YouTube and the rest of the world, featuring the dynamic comedic duo of Robot Boy and Pop Pops and the underrated Tsitsi Kishuma. They eventually formed a trio later on. One day everything would come crumbling down on them when Robot Boy tried to defend his friend Jazzy Q from a feminist who accused him of sexual assault and predatory behavior. This is the rise and fall of Popcorn and Cheese and the birth of a new podcast and format. On 22 December 2022, Saul and McG were away on personal matters and were unable to record an episode, so McG called Pop Pops and Robot Boy to stand in for them. The episode was episode 420, called Popcorn and Cheese 2022 Wrap Up, where Pop Pops and Robot Boy covered and reflected on that particular year. The episode would be a huge success, with many chillers wanting Pops and Robot Boy to continue in the future and have their own podcast on McG's channel, since the duo is super funny and are naturals at doing this thing of podcasting. McG would finally make the decision to give Robot Boy and Pop Pops a slot on his channel to continue making Popcorn and Cheese. Pop Pops and Robot Boy would finally launch their podcast on 8 March 2023. The episode would instantly become a hit again, being extremely funny and good. The intro song is so funny and slaps also. The dynamic duo would continue making great episodes, entertaining their audiences and having great guests along the way. That made the podcast stand out and be unique. Tsitsi Kishuma was originally the ghost presenter, pointing out things out in the shadows. He would prove to be extremely funny that chillers would want him to stop being a ghost presenter and join the dynamic duo of Robot Boy and Pop Pops on camera. He was on camera on episode 2, but he would not become a regular guest until episode 26, where the threesome would recap on season 2. Memorable moments with the Cheese Gang. Tsitsi would be so awkward and funny at the same time. He was mostly himself and did not fake himself to fit in. He did not try hard to be entertaining. Most of the time he would not be there, but episode with no celebrities he would be there. The podcast really had some really interesting episodes, such as the one with Dr. Malinga, Farida, the funny chef, and many more. Likeable episode. One day everything the three built on the podcast came crashing down on top of them, testing their minds, toughness and integrity when a serious situation was brought to their attention and were forced to comment or remain silent on the situation. This situation broke Popcorn and Cheese forever. On 23 May 2024, YFM producer Ngwebo Mngobot would make a cryptic tweet writing, "I'm so triggered, not me being sexually harassed by one of your favorites." After rejecting his advances, she would not name any names, with many believing her and others did not. When pressed by her followers, Ngoboti admitted that the fave in question was Mr. Jazzy Q, who was at the YFM studios with Robot Boy and their teams to promote their new collaboration. She would go on and tweet, "This guy literally grabbed me by the waist, trying to kiss me, Ninkani, the way I had to push him away from me." Lapho we are in a list. After these allegations,
accusations. These are not accusations. This is false accusations. And
Mr. Jazzy Q and his team were forced to release a statement on 28 May 2024 on Instagram. In his statement, Mr. Jazzy Q shared his reaction to the news and the steps that were taken by his team, such as requesting CCTV footage from the station to disprove the allegations against him. The basis for this request was for Mr. Jazzy Q to offer a detailed response to the damaging allegation by providing irrefutable evidence that they have no basis in truth or fact. 4 days after the footage was initially requested, YFM responded, stating that the set list has no cameras. The radio station, in their response to Mr. Jazzy Q's legal team, distanced itself from Ngoboti's allegation, stating that she is a freelancer and that the station does not support any of the claims she made on social media. After not being able to get footage from the radio station, the Amapiano producer opted to release footage shot by his videographer that shows the moments around the lift but not inside where nobody claimed it took place. The clips, which has been edited together, showed nobody entering the lift ahead of the DJ as he is busy taking pictures with a fan. The fan then takes pictures with Robot Boy as Jazzy Q enters the lift only when they exited and headed into the studio. Mr. Jazzy Q has denied this allegation. 3 points are important to note. Firstly, at no point was Mr. Jazzy Q alone with Mrs. Nobody in the lift. They were in the presence of at least 5 other people at all times. The second is that Mr. Jazzy Q and Mrs. Mkoboti were never in close proximity as she entered the lift before him. Him being the last to enter means that he was also closest to the elevator doors with no less than 5 other people between them. Finally, the lift was traveling just 1 floor up, a distance that took a few seconds at best for Mrs. Mkoboti's allegations to be true. Mr. Jazzy Q would have needed to enter the lift wide through 5 other people, position himself next to her, attempt an assault on her in full view of other people in the lift, and then out of the lift in barely 10 seconds that it took the lift to get just 1 floor up. This is both improbable and illogical, especially as it would require that all persons in the lift, including women, would be complicit in what can only be described as atrocious actions. In his statement, Mr. Jazzy Q asked that his fans refrain from attacking Nobody online or in any way. He has also asked her to consider the implications of the damaging lie that she has spread. The Amapiano producer has not taken legal action against Nobody, who has not laid a criminal case against him, but said he will have no option but to pursue the legal route to clear his name so that this cloud of suspension can be lifted from him. This situation would prompt the Robot Boy to speak out since he was an accomplice when that certain incident happened that day. He would address the situation on 12 June 2024 on their podcast when asked about it by his co-host Tsitsi and Poe. Before that, he was quiet and did not want to involve himself in the drama. Robot Boy basically said nobody is lying without saying she is lying in a cryptic response to the whole situation.
There was a moment that didn't happen, and he replied to it, right? And that's what he replied to. So that's the statement. The saddest thing about this whole thing is that when other, God forbid, other victims of this thing have to come out
That's my crime.
for a real story that really happened and not lied about. When they have to come out, it's going to be harder for them to be believed because she's going to be referenced because it was cooked.
Yep.
This whole situation would put Robot Boy's whole reputation on a risk and his mental health taking a toll. The podcast was in a huge controversy and accused of protecting a predator. The trio was roasted and put on blast on Twitter with many users insulting them. The situation would get worse when Musa Kawula would say Pop's child looks like Skomota, with his brand at risk. Robot Boy would finally announce that he is leaving Popcorn and Cheese on 12 June's episode. That would be the death of Popcorn and Cheese. To be honest, I am very quite surprised Popcorn and Cheese lasted as long as it did, as it was not bringing the views like other podcasts on the channel. The Bantwizis bring more views than Popcorn and Cheese. Also, Robot Boy most of the time wanted to be morally correct in everything. In some cases, he did not want to speak his mind because of the fear of getting backlash. He would get saying certain things, but Cheese Gang, don't be sad, Popcorn and Cheese is gone. But the new podcast has launched, PNC, People Need Comedy. It's more crazy than Popcorn and Cheese. ZZ and Pops have no limits and say whatever they want.
On a very sad note, ladies and gentlemen,
Yo.
hey, it's a sad one. Cheese boys, cheese girls, and
The cheese
gang. We've gotten to a point where we've really enjoyed making popcorn and cheese.
Yeah, it's nice.
We've really enjoyed making popcorn and cheese. It's been a phenomenal journey. We've had amazing guests along the way. We are shocked that we haven't been cancelled for some of the things we've said.
Today is the end, my brother.
You know,
because the cheese gang was angry, bro. I was working in Checkers. I'm like, cheese and popcorn. Yeah. L4. L4. You got cheese and popcorn. What am I supposed to do with a Wednesday?
Wearing like a ngubo type of dress. My bro said, yo, you look warm.
Hey.
So now what happens is